Close your eyes and imagine the world slowing down. The hum of daily life fades, replaced by the soft whisper of time itself. You are walking across dusty plains, up misty mountains, and through quiet caves where history waits patiently, unseen, for someone to notice. Beneath your feet and in the shadows around you lie treasures and stories untouched for centuries. A golden mask resting in an Egyptian tomb, massive stone pillars rising in silent circles, delicate murals painted in the faint glow of prehistoric torchlight. Each object, each ruin, is a whisper from the past, not shouting, not urgent, but calm, deliberate, and patient. As you wander slowly through these places, you can almost hear the hands that built, carved, or painted them. Hands shaping stone, brush, or clay. Hands leaving behind evidence of daily life, devotion, and care. These traces of human effort are quiet teachers, inviting you to pause, breathe, and notice the subtle beauty in ordinary and extraordinary lives alike. This is the rhythm of history we will follow, gentle, immersive, reflective. From hidden tombs in Egypt to lost cities in the Andes, from silent armies of clay in China to the whispering scrolls of the desert, every step is a meditation, every artifact a soft conversation across centuries. So breathe deeply, walk slowly, and let the past settle around you like a soft, welcoming blanket. History is not a race. It is a companion, patient and quiet, ready to tell its stories, if only you listen. Begins not with a thunderstorm, but with a breath, soft, deliberate, and unhurried. History, at its deepest, is not a chase, but a gentle whisper through the corridors of time. If you sit quietly among ruins, the echo of long-forgotten lives does not rush toward you. It drifts like dappled sunlight on an autumn afternoon, inviting you to listen. Imagine standing for the first time at the entrance of a tomb, hidden for millennia. The air is warm, still, and the sands beneath your feet are the shade of pale gold. Ahead lies a threshold no human has crossed in over 3,000 years. You draw closer, and with measured care you brush away the grit of centuries. What awaits is not thunderous spectacle, but stillness. The calm kind that resonates deeper than any spoken word. This is Tutankhamun's tomb, discovered in 1922 by the Egyptologist Howard Carter. Most royal tombs in Egypt's famed Valley of the Kings were looted long before modern archaeologists reached them, yet this humble boy king's burial was largely untouched. A serene time capsule of exquisite objects and sacred art. When Carter first peered inside, he found an inner world of gold, jewels, chariots, and ritual items, each placed with human love and intention over 3 millennia ago. Pause with that moment. There is no sudden rush, no fanfare, just a soft unveiling, a chest here, a statue there, ceremonial objects arrayed as if someone only just stepped away for a moment. Some of the items were fragile, so delicate that even the task of lifting them required an unprecedented layer of care. To this day, scholars return again and again to these objects not for fame, but to understand the rhythms of ancient life and belief. Far from Egypt, in a place of stone and sky so different, it might be another world entirely. Another rediscovery had nearly slipped from human memory. High in the Andes of Peru, where clouds weave slowly through mountains, lies Machu Picchu, the lost city of the Incas. Built atop a high ridge, its stones were laid in near-perfect harmony with the landscape. For centuries, locals knew of the ruins, but to the wider world it remained hidden until the early 20th century, when explorers brought it to light. Machu Picchu does not reveal itself forcefully. It stands quietly amid emerald terraces, its remnants of temples and homes telling a story not merely of power and palace, but of communities in balance with sky and earth. One might wander through its plazas at dawn and feel the invisible lines where the sun first touched these stones centuries ago. Even deeper into antiquity, in southeastern Anatolia, a place called Göbekli, Tepe, lies uncovered like stone echoes in the sand. These massive limestone pillars, erected over 11,000 years ago, are among the oldest known monumental structures built by humans. Unlike later ruins that remind us of empires and kings, Göbekli Tepe stands as a testament to communal effort long before kingdoms rose. A place that feels like the shared heartbeat of humanity itself. Pause here, in this expansive sweep of time, and allow your mind to drift. Consider the silent precision of stoneworkers lifting massive pillars without wheel or iron, their hands working gently, slowly, like water wearing away at a quiet shore. Through this site, we sense an early humanity not hurried or driven by conquest, but drawn together in curiosity and perhaps shared ritual. History, when experienced softly, becomes less about lists of dates and more about human intention, the deliberate act of placing an object, carving a stone, or choosing a final resting place. It is a history shaped by breath, effort, and the quiet companionship of those who came before us. So, in this gentle beginning, let us step even more softly into the echoes that have waited patiently for attention. Our journey will carry us from silent tombs in golden deserts to forgotten cities of misty mountains and the colossal stones of the earliest sacred circles. It will unfold as a calm river of memory, inviting, reflective, and deeply human. And like all great discoveries, its greatest treasures will not jump at you with sudden brilliance, but rest there in quiet resonance, waiting to be noticed. Imagine a hilltop in southeastern Turkey, 11,000 years ago, long before cities, kings, or writing existed. The air is crisp with dawn, and a soft wind stirs the grasses around a high plateau. Here, humans are gathering stones, not small stones, for fire pits or houses, but massive limestone pillars carved by hands that have never known metal tools, lifted and positioned with painstaking care. Göbekli Tepe is unlike any other archaeological site in the world. It is not a palace nor a city in the traditional sense. There are no streets, no permanent dwellings. Instead, it is a series of circular and oval structures, each built with precision, each stone adorned with carvings of animals, foxes, boars, birds, etched with a skill that seems impossible for its time. Pause and imagine the builders. They are hunter-gatherers, accustomed to roaming the hills and valleys for food, yet they stop for generations to collaborate on something extraordinary. Their labor is slow, deliberate, a quiet symphony of human effort. One hand traces the stone while another lifts a rope. They communicate with gestures, with calls that echo softly across the plateau. There is no rush. Their work is a conversation with the future. Each stone is placed not randomly, but with intent. The circles align in ways still debated by modern scholars, perhaps with celestial events in mind. Some pillars tower over 3 meters, heavier than any single person can carry. Yet here they stand, erected with patience and cooperation, a monument to human curiosity and spirituality. As centuries pass, the site becomes a sacred center. Fires burn at its center, and humans gather for rituals we can only imagine. Perhaps they speak prayers, sing songs, or tell stories that will vanish once they walk away. And yet the stones remain, silently recording the lives of those who shaped them. Göbekli Tepe challenges everything we thought we knew about human history. Conventional wisdom suggested that complex religious sites came after the advent of agriculture, not before. Yet here, we see a site older than farming itself. Human beings, still primarily hunters, were capable of monumental construction, symbolic thought, and social collaboration beyond what we might have imagined. Imagine walking among these pillars today. They rise like frozen sentinels, each engraved with animals that seem alive in their stillness. The carvings are not decoration for decoration's sake. They speak to the worldview of people whose existence was intimately tied to the land and its creatures. Each symbol, each shape, is a quiet reminder of what mattered: survival, community, and perhaps a sense of the sacred. Archaeologists have studied Göbekli Tepe for decades. They carefully excavate, brush by brush, uncovering the layers of history hidden beneath the soil. Carbon dating places its construction around 9,600 BCE, older than Stonehenge by over 6,000 years. The tools are primitive by modern standards: flint chisels, wooden levers, ropes made from fibers. Yet the results are monumental. Each stone, each circle, is a testament to human ingenuity and patience. There is a rhythm to the site, almost musical in its execution. Pillars rise, circles expand, carvings appear in sequences as if the builders were composing a story in stone. They did not leave written records, and yet every shape and placement carries meaning. Modern scholars speculate endlessly. Were these temples for the dead? Sites of astronomical observation, gathering points for storytelling and ritual? Perhaps all of these, perhaps none. What is certain is the human desire behind it, a desire to leave a mark, to create something enduring, to connect across time. Let us pause here and feel the quiet majesty of this place. The sun shifts slowly across the sky, casting shadows that stretch along the carved stones. A fox etched into limestone seems to move as the light grazes it. A bird in flight freezes midair, eternal in its motion. These stones are more than monuments. They are whispers from the dawn of human society. And then there is the labor itself. Imagine generations working in collaboration, passing knowledge from elders to children, sharing techniques, teaching one another patience. Each stone lifted, each carving etched, is a small act of human connection. This is history not recorded in texts, but in effort, in touch, in the quiet unfolding of human skill. The site's discovery in modern times, in 1994 by Klaus Schmidt, brought the world's attention to humanity's early genius. Scholars, journalists, and visitors arrived to marvel. Yet the magic of Göbekli Tepe remains best appreciated slowly. One must walk among the stones, tracing fingers along grooves, feeling the weight of time in each mark. It does not demand attention, it rewards patience. This is the gift of Göbekli Tepe. It reminds us that humans are capable of awe, of creativity, of collaboration, long before the trappings of civilization appeared. And as we leave this hilltop, the wind still brushing softly against the stones, the lesson lingers. The human spirit, even in its earliest form, is capable of beauty, intention, and quiet wonder. Imagine standing high in the Andes, where clouds drift lazily across jagged peaks, and the morning sun warms the mist. The air is thin but soft, carrying the scent of wet stone, grass, and distant forests. Somewhere in this haze, partially hidden from human eyes for centuries, lies Machu Picchu, a city that waits patiently to reveal its secrets. Unlike the monumental tombs of Egypt or the carved stones of Göbekli Tepe, Machu Picchu was built not for kings in death, but for life in harmony with the mountains. Its terraces cling to the hillsides like careful brush strokes of green and gray. Its temples, plazas, and aqueducts are perfectly aligned with the contours of the land. Each stone fits with precision, as if the mountains themselves had instructed the builders. Let us walk slowly along a narrow path toward the city. With each step, the terraces rise and fall, the walls of stone seem to breathe, and the sound of running water trickles softly in channels carved centuries ago. The Inca engineers, without wheels or iron tools, shaped massive stones and placed them so precisely that not even a knife could slip between them. Each block is both functional and sacred, a symbol of the connection between humans, land, and sky. Machu Picchu is not merely architecture, it is a meditation in stone. The temple of the sun catches the first rays of dawn in perfect alignment, marking solstices and the movement of celestial bodies. The Intihuatana stone, a ritual sundial, anchors time itself, a quiet reminder that even without written calendars, the Incas measured existence with attention, reverence, and patience. Imagine the daily life here: artisans carving tools, farmers tending terraces, priests performing rituals in shadowed temples. Each act, repeated over generations, was both ordinary and sacred. And then imagine the city abandoned suddenly, perhaps due to conflict or disease, leaving the terraces and stones to be reclaimed by clouds and forest. Centuries passed, and yet the city waited quietly for rediscovery, unhurried, hidden, like a secret whispered to the mountains. It was in 1911 that Hiram Bingham, guided by local knowledge, brought Machu Picchu to the attention of the wider world. Yet even as explorers climbed its terraces, the city's calm persisted. There was no need to shout, no need for fanfare. Walking along the stone paths, one could almost hear the faint echoes of human activity from centuries past. The whisper of a conversation, the rhythm of a footstep, the quiet care in laying stones. Machu Picchu reminds us that history is not always grand or violent. Sometimes it is slow, deliberate, and contemplative. It teaches us about human ingenuity and balance with nature, about communities that lived carefully, respecting the mountains and rivers that sustained them. Its walls, terraces, and temples are more than stone. They are breathing memory, a dialogue across time between builders and observers. Pause here and let the silence settle. The clouds drift, a condor circles lazily overhead, sunlight flickers across terraces, illuminating stones worn smooth by centuries of wind, rain, and quiet passage. Each step along these paths invites reflection on creativity, patience, and the human desire to leave a mark that will endure gently without clamoring for attention. Machu Picchu is both a city and a meditation. Its grandeur does not shout, it whispers. Its engineering, art, and alignment with the natural world speak softly, inviting visitors to walk slowly, look carefully, and imagine lives lived in rhythm with mountains and sky. Even today, with millions of visitors, its calm persists. Those who pause, who breathe slowly, and notice the details, the water channels, the carefully carved stones, the terraces that rise like steps to the clouds, find themselves drawn into a slow communion with history. Here, history becomes not a record of kings and battles, but a quiet story of human care, intention, and harmony. The people of Machu Picchu worked with patience, skill, and reverence, and in their city, now silent and majestic, they left a testament to what humans can create when they move gently, thoughtfully, and in concert with the misty morning in the plains near Xi'an, China. The air is cool, the earth soft with dew, and somewhere beneath the surface, hidden for more than 2,000 years, lies an army waiting quietly. Not just any army, but an army crafted to guard a first emperor in the afterlife, designed with such care and patience that even now every soldier seems to breathe with life, frozen mid-step. The Terracotta army belongs to Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor, who unified the country in 221 BCE. His vision was grand and his ambition eternal, to protect himself in death as he had in life. Around him, thousands of soldiers, chariots, and horses were buried in perfect formation, each figure unique, each face individualized with delicate attention. Pause and imagine the artisans at work. They carved clay with meticulous skill, shaping armor, robes, and facial expressions. One artist's hands traced the stern brow of an infantryman. Another shaped the fierce gaze of a cavalry officer. Each figure was baked and painted, then arranged in precise ranks, standing silently in the earth. These were not hurried tasks. They required years of dedication, generations of craftsmen, and an almost meditative attention to detail. Walking among them today, the scale is astonishing. Thousands upon thousands of soldiers stretch into the horizon, perfectly aligned as though awaiting orders that would never come. Each figure is life-sized, each detail deliberate. A braid in the hair, a fold in the robe, the intricate straps of armor. Some hold weapons, now rusted and faint, while others stand empty-handed, their gaze unwavering, their presence solemn. The Terracotta army is more than art. It is a statement of human intention. In a quiet way, it tells us about society, hierarchy, and belief. It speaks to the emperor's desire for protection, to the craftsman's dedication, and to the collective human effort required to achieve such monumental ambition. It is not merely a record of power, but a reflection of patience, care, and precision. Imagine the city above ground bustling with life, the emperor's tomb hidden beneath mounds of earth. Artisans work with clay and pigments overseen by officials, each aware that their labor is part of something eternal. They do not rush. Each movement is careful, deliberate. Even the placement of each soldier is guided by intention, not the front lines facing outward, the archers in precise positions, generals in commanding stances. Discovered in 1974 by local farmers digging a well, the Terracotta army emerged quietly from the soil, revealing not only an emperor's ambition but a civilization's skill. Archaeologists approach the site with patience, brushing away centuries of earth, documenting every soldier, every chariot, every fragment with care. Carbon dating and careful study have allowed modern humans to step slowly into the vision of ancient China. Yet the true wonder lies not in the numbers or scale, but in the individuality. Look closely, and no two faces are alike. Every soldier has his own expression, his own character, frozen for eternity. This attention to detail transforms the army from a mere display of power into a quiet celebration of human creativity, patience, and observation. Even today, as visitors walk among the figures in carefully controlled galleries, there is a soft awe. One does not shout or hurry here. Instead, there is a meditative quality, the sense that the one is part of a long continuum where humans, centuries apart, share a moment of reflection. The silence of the army encourages calm observation, gentle curiosity, and a slow appreciation for the skill and effort of those who came before. The Terracotta Army reminds us that history is not only written in texts or grand battles, but in patient craftsmanship, in quiet devotion, in the careful shaping of clay into forms meant to endure. It is a story told in stillness, in ranks of silent soldiers standing guard, a whisper across millennia that patience, skill, and human care can leave a legacy as enduring as stone. And as you step away, leaving the figures standing silently in their endless ranks, you carry with you a sense of awe and reflection. These soldiers do not march, they do not speak, and yet they communicate something far more profound: the depth of human intention, the quiet power of patience, and the gentle beauty of creation meant to last forever. Imagine a quiet desert in the Middle East, sun warming the stones, wind carrying only the faintest whisper of movement. In the rugged cliffs near the Dead Sea, caves hide secrets that have been undisturbed for over 2,000 years. Within these silent hollows, humans of a long gone era left fragments of thought, fragile, delicate, and patient, waiting for someone to discover them. These are the Dead Sea Scrolls, ancient manuscripts written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, carefully rolled and tucked into jars by hands long gone. They were hidden not for spectacle but for protection, like letters entrusted to eternity. Perhaps their authors did not know if anyone would ever read them again. And yet, their words remain, whispering softly across millennia. The scrolls were discovered between 1946 and 1956, largely by chance, when shepherds exploring caves stumbled upon them. At first, the finds seemed ordinary, merely scraps of parchment. But as archaeologists carefully unrolled each delicate sheet, they realized these fragments were extraordinary biblical texts, community rules, hymns, and wisdom writings that reveal a world of thought, belief, and quiet reflection from a people living under desert skies. Pause here and imagine holding such a scroll. The parchment is fragile, its ink faded. Each line, each letter is a conversation with the past. The scribes who wrote these texts worked carefully, slowly, tracing characters with precision, fully aware that their words might outlast their lifetimes. There is a patient beauty in their labor, a deliberate attention to detail that mirrors the calm of the desert itself. The Dead Sea. Scrolls are more than texts. They are portals to human experience. They allow us to glimpse daily life, religious practice, and philosophical reflection in an era long before printing presses or typewriters. They carry the quiet voices of individuals contemplating law, faith, and morality, preserved in a stillness that feels almost sacred. Archaeologists, scholars, and historians have studied these manuscripts for decades, carefully piecing together fragments like a slow, delicate puzzle. Each scroll provides insight not only into the words themselves, but into the society that produced them, its hierarchy, rituals, and spiritual concerns. As you trace the letters with your mind's eye, you can almost hear the scribe's steady hand, the rustle of parchment, the whisper of thought frozen in time. Some scrolls contain familiar passages, others entirely new, revealing stories, hymns, and prayers that were previously lost. In their quiet discovery, there is an intimacy, a sense that the past is not distant, but gently extending a hand, inviting careful observation, reflection, and meditation. Imagine sitting beside the Dead Sea, the wind stirring softly, sunlight reflecting off the water's surface, and unrolling one of these ancient scrolls. You read slowly, savoring each phrase, knowing that every line is a human thought preserved against centuries of desert heat and wind. This is not a race. History is not a sprint here. It is a calm journey, a soft immersion in the reflections of those who came before. The scrolls also remind us of the fragility of human endeavor. Ink fades, parchment crumbles, but the care with which these texts were preserved ensured that they survived. And in that survival, they speak across centuries, not with urgency, but with a gentle, persistent voice. They teach patience, careful attention, and respect for the delicate threads that link past and present. Even today, as scholars translate, annotate, and study these texts, the quiet power of the Dead Sea Scrolls persists. They are a reminder that the most profound human creations are often those born of reflection, care, and devotion. The scrolls invite us not only to read, but to listen, to slow our minds, to appreciate the thoughtful, patient effort that allowed these voices to endure. And as you leave the caves, imagining the hands that tucked these scrolls into hiding so long ago, you carry with you a sense of reverence. The wind continues to stir across the desert cliffs. The scrolls remain quietly waiting, ready to share their stories with anyone willing to pause, breathe, and listen. Imagine a wide plain in southern England where the wind moves slowly across tall grasses and the sun rises with a golden patience over the horizon. Amid this vast landscape, massive stones rise silently, as if waiting, as if listening. These are the stones of Stonehenge, some standing upright, others resting gracefully against one another, forming circles that have endured for thousands of years. Stonehenge was built gradually over centuries, beginning around 3000 BCE, long before written records. Its builders left no detailed instructions, no diaries, only the stones themselves, positioned with careful intent. Each block was quarried, transported, and erected with human hands, tools, and determination, guided by knowledge and vision passed down through generations. Walk slowly among the stones. Notice the size of the sarsens, some weighing more than 20 tons. Imagine humans moving them with ropes, levers, and sheer patience step by step, as if they were coaxing the stones into place rather than forcing them. Every arrangement aligns with celestial events, solstices, equinoxes, the movements of the moon, showing a quiet sophistication in observing time and nature. The people who built Stonehenge may have done so for ritual, for gathering, for worship, or perhaps for reasons lost to history. But as you stand here in the shadow of these monoliths, there is a serene understanding. They worked with patience, in harmony with the land, creating a space that would speak across millennia. Mornings at Stonehenge would have been different in those ancient times. Perhaps the builders paused to watch the sunrise over distant hills, or the moon rising between stones, or the stars reflected in shallow pools. Every decision in placement and construction required careful observation, careful reflection. There was no rush, only intention. Even today, archaeologists, astronomers, and historians study Stonehenge slowly, piecing together its purpose and significance. The site offers insight into prehistoric human ingenuity, the quiet rhythm of communal work, and the spiritual sensibilities of those who first erected these stones. It invites reflection, calm observation, and a sense of connection to humans long gone. Imagine the ceremonies that might have taken place here, gatherings at dawn, offerings placed upon the ground, songs rising softly into the morning air. There is a hush in these acts, a reverence that does not shout but lingers gently in memory. Stonehenge's legacy is not in spectacle alone, but in the patience, care, and subtlety of its creation. The standing stones seem alive, as if aware of the centuries of wind, rain, and quiet footfalls around them. They bear witness to generations of human reflection, observation, and aspiration. And as you step slowly across the plain, you notice the alignment, the angles, the deliberate patterns. Each detail speaks of human thought, effort, and the desire to connect with something larger than oneself. Stonehenge is history that encourages stillness. It teaches us to move slowly, notice carefully, and appreciate the patience of those who came before. Its greatest lessons are soft, gentle, almost meditative. The power of intention, the beauty of enduring labor, and the quiet majesty of human creativity in balance with nature. As the sun dips low, casting long shadows across the stones, you leave the plain with a sense of calm reverence. The stones remain silent and patient, waiting to whisper their story to anyone willing to walk slowly, breathe deeply, and listen carefully to the rhythm of the past. Imagine a warm Italian morning nearly 2,000 years ago. The streets of Pompeii are alive with the soft rhythms of daily life. Merchants set up their stalls, children run across cobbled alleys, and the scent of baked bread mingles with the faint smoke from cooking fires. Life moves at its usual pace, ordinary, unhurried, human. Then far above, Mount Vesuvius rests quietly, its peak shrouded in clouds. The mountain seems peaceful, a silent sentinel over the city. But beneath that calm exterior lies a slow, invisible pressure, a patient reminder of nature's quiet power. And when the day comes in 79 CE, Vesuvius awakens, and the ordinary city becomes extraordinary in its stillness. The eruption begins softly at first, a rumble, a faint dusting of ash. People glance upward, confused but not immediately alarmed. Then the ash thickens, clouds darken the sky, and the city's ordinary cadence is disrupted. Streets fill with a gray blanket, and in the chaos, daily life is frozen. Houses, shops, and villas become time capsules, capturing everything in its final moment. Centuries later, archaeologists began uncovering Pompeii layer by layer. They brushed away ash carefully, revealing the intimate details of Roman life. Frescoes on walls, mosaics on floors, tools lying where they were last used. Even the forms of people were preserved in casts, created when voids in the hardened ash captured their final positions. One could see a baker frozen mid-step, a family huddled in their home, the shapes of children grasping parents' hands. Pause and imagine walking through these streets today. The air is still. The silence is thick with centuries. You'll notice the textures, the worn stones of the streets, the delicate paintings on walls, the small objects left behind. Each fragment tells a story, not shouted, not hurried, but whispered gently across time. Here, history is tactile and intimate. Pompeii teaches us about ordinary human life in a profound way. It shows kitchens where bread was baked, bedrooms where people slept, shops where traders sold wares. These details are not grand monuments or royal tombs. They are quiet testimonies of everyday existence, and yet their preservation gives us a bridge to the past, a way to imagine the human heartbeat centuries ago. Even the eruption itself can be imagined as a slow, overwhelming presence. Ash falling softly at first, then thicker, heavier, until the city rests beneath a blanket of quiet gray. It is a reminder that nature moves at its own pace, indifferent yet transformative, and that human life, ordinary though it may be, can leave traces that endure long after the moment has passed. Walking among Pompeii's remains, one feels a soft connection with those who lived there. Each doorway, each column, each mosaic is a whisper. The vows paused, stories preserved. The city is both a warning and a gift, a testament to mortality, to the beauty of ordinary existence, and to the patience of time in revealing what was once hidden. And as the sun dips low over the Italian plains, casting long shadows across the ash-covered streets, there is a quiet meditation that history is not only about kings, battles, or great conquests, but about the simple, enduring rhythms of human life, preserved patiently, waiting for those willing to walk slowly, notice deeply, and reflect gently. Imagine a quiet room in 1799 in the bustling town of Rashid, Rosetta, Egypt. Soldiers of Napoleon's expedition are digging foundations for fortifications when one of them notices a slab of stone partially buried in the sand. It is unassuming, heavy, and plain at first glance, yet within its smooth surface lie inscriptions that have waited for centuries patiently to speak again. This is the Rosetta Stone, a fragment of a larger decree from 196 BCE. Its importance is not immediately obvious to the casual observer. Carved upon it are the same words in three scripts, hieroglyphs, Demotic, and Ancient Greek. To anyone who could read Greek, the message is clear. But for the ancient Egyptian writing, it is a puzzle, a whisper from a distant past. Pause and imagine scholars slowly tracing the grooves, examining each character. Every line carved into the stone is deliberate, thoughtful, a human hand shaping communication to endure. For centuries, the meaning of hieroglyphs had been lost. The Rosetta Stone became a key, quiet, patient, and persistent, to unlock voices that had lain silent for thousands of years. The real marvel of the Rosetta Stone is not in its stone alone, but in the dedication of the minds that deciphered it. Scholars like Jean-François Champollion spent years comparing scripts, noticing patterns, testing hypotheses, and refining understanding with painstaking care. They worked slowly, with reverence for the stone's age and patience for the layers of meaning embedded within it. Imagine sitting at a desk in Paris, candlelight flickering, pieces of parchment scattered, magnifying glass in hand as the script begins to make sense. Each symbol recognized is a step closer to a distant human thought, preserved for millennia. Each sound reconstructed, each word decoded, is a quiet triumph of human curiosity and patience. The Rosetta Stone is more than a linguistic key. It is a bridge across time. Through it, voices of ancient Egypt speak. Again, decrees, rituals, and intentions inscribed by humans who lived, labored, and created thousands of years before. We listen not with rush, but with quiet attention, piecing together the story of their civilization with gentle care. Even today, as visitors walk slowly past the stone in the British Museum, there is a calm awe. The inscriptions invite observation, reflection, and respect for both the ancient scribes and the modern scholars who unlock their secrets. One can almost feel the careful hands carving the characters, the quiet deliberation in every stroke, and the centuries-long patience of those who preserved knowledge for the future. History, in the case of the Rosetta Stone, is not a spectacle of power or wealth. It is subtle. It is a quiet dialogue. It reminds us that the human thought can endure in fragments, patiently waiting for someone willing to notice, reflect, and decode. And that understanding, slow, meditative, attentive, brings a profound connection to people long gone, bridging the centuries with patience and care. So as the museum lights flicker softly and visitors pass in silence, imagine the moment of revelation, the first understanding of hieroglyphs, the first voice of an ancient scribe reborn. In that calm moment, history is not rushing, It is whispering gently, inviting us to walk slowly, breathe deeply, and let the past speak. Imagine a gentle plain in what is now central Turkey, roughly 7,500 years ago, where small communities cluster together under a vast sky. The air is warm, the earth soft underfoot, and life moves with a slow, steady rhythm. Here lies Çatalhöyük, one of the earliest known urban settlements, a place where humans first began to live closely together in a pattern that would eventually give rise to cities. Walk slowly along the rooftops, which served as streets and pathways. The houses are built tightly together, walls sharing spaces, entrances facing the flat roofs rather than streets. The city has no gates, no fortifications. It grows organically like a careful pattern woven into the earth. There is intimacy here. Neighbors live side by side, children running across roofs, families tending fires, artists painting walls with careful strokes. Step inside one of these homes. Walls are decorated with murals of animals, hunting scenes, and geometric shapes, each detail painted with deliberate care. Stone platforms hold sleeping areas, hearths burn gently, and small figurines, perhaps of humans or deities, sit quietly on shelves. Everything is simple, yet purposeful, a reflection of lives lived in constant attention to both survival and meaning. The people of Çatalhöyük are farmers, hunters, and artisans. They cultivate crops, raise animals, and shape tools with patience and skill. Every grain planted, every stone shaped, every mural painted is a testimony of intention, repeated slowly day after day. Life is measured by the rhythms of the sun and seasons, not by clocks or schedules, and this slow cadence permeates the city itself. Imagine families gathering around fires in the evening. Conversations are soft, laughter gentle, stories passed from elder to child. They do not know that millennia later we will uncover traces of their lives, tools, bones, murals, and houses, and reflect upon them with reverent curiosity. These ordinary lives, preserved in layers of earth, become extraordinary to us in hindsight. Archaeologists studying Çatalhöyük approach it with quiet patience. Every excavation is slow, meticulous. Layers of soil are removed with brushes, every artifact recorded carefully. And as they uncover the city's layout, murals, and objects, they begin to understand a society where life was communal, where people lived closely, and where creativity and ritual were interwoven into everyday existence. Çatalhöyük teaches us about the rhythm of human life before the grandeur of empires. Its lessons are subtle. The value of cooperation, the beauty of creativity in ordinary settings, the significance of attention and care in daily labor. Its preserved walls and objects speak softly of human ingenuity and intimacy, whispering stories of meals shared, fires tended, and murals painted, all in quiet persistence. Picture walking along a street of rooftops at dawn. The city stirs gently. The first light illuminates murals in muted colors. Smoke rises from hearths, and the world feels alive yet tranquil. You notice the delicate footprints, the careful placement of tools, and the rhythm of human activity paused in the soft light. This is history not shouted from grand monuments, but whispered in everyday life, preserved patiently for future generations to discover. And as you leave Çatalhöyük, stepping down from the rooftops to the plains below, there is a gentle realization the story of humanity is not only written in kings and conquests, but in ordinary hands shaping ordinary lives with intention, patience, and care. Every mural, every tool, every carefully laid stone carries the calm heartbeat of early civilization. Ang ninyo arte waiting quietly for those willing to walk slowly, breathe deeply, and listen. Imagine a cool, shadowed cave deep within the forests and hills of prehistoric Europe. The air is damp but still, carrying the faint scent of earth and stone. Here, centuries before cities, writing, or recorded history, humans moved quietly with torches in hand, their breath visible in the chilly air. They were artists and storytellers, marking the walls with images that have waited tens of thousands of years to be seen again. This is Lascaux in France and Altamira in Spain, two of the most remarkable Paleolithic caves ever discovered. Within these dark hollows, early humans painted animals, bison, horses, deer, and aurochs, with astonishing skill. The images are not merely decoration, they are expressions of observation, reverence, and perhaps ritual. Every stroke is deliberate, every contour shaped by careful attention, as if the walls themselves were listening to human intention. Imagine crouching before a wall, torchlight flickering, shadows dancing across the paintings. Hands dip into pigments made from charcoal, ochre, and hematite. Fingers smear, brushes sweep, and slowly a bison emerges, its form lifelike, its energy captured in a still moment. These artists worked not for fame or posterity, but with quiet devotion, leaving traces of themselves in a space where time moves differently, more slowly. The caves are labyrinths of calm discovery. In some chambers, figures of animals overlap, perhaps indicating stories or sequences of thought. In others, abstract signs and handprints mark human presence in simple yet profound ways. One can imagine early humans pausing after a hunt, reflecting in silence on what they had seen, translating their observations into art that speaks not loudly but patiently across millennia. The discovery of these caves in modern times, Lascaux in 1940 and Altamira in 1868, revealed not only the skill of our ancestors, but the depth of human curiosity and creativity. Archaeologists and visitors tread softly, aware that each footprint can disturb fragile surfaces. The paintings require patience to understand, careful attention to detail, and reverence for the lives of those long gone. What is remarkable is the universality of their expression. Across continents and ages, humans have sought to represent the world around them, to leave marks, to communicate. The caves of Lascaux and Altamira are early, enduring examples of this impulse. They remind us that even before written language, humans were thinkers, observers, and storytellers capable of beauty, precision, and reflection. Walking through the caves, one feels a gentle rhythm, the flicker of torchlight, the hush of footsteps, the whisper of ancient hands shaping pigment into forms that endure. The animals seem alive, yet frozen, captured in moments that never repeat, preserved in stillness. These paintings do not demand attention. They invite it softly, encouraging reflection and calm observation. Even today, replicas are created so visitors can experience the caves without harming the originals, yet the essence remains. History is not always about kings or empires, but about human curiosity, artistry, and the quiet desire to leave something behind. The early artists of Lascaux and Altamira speak across millennia, not with force, but with patience, subtlety, and enduring presence. As you step out of the caves into the light, feel the cool shadows behind you, the soft echo of torches and pigments. Imagine the hands that traced each form, the careful choices of color and line, the quiet reflection that guided every movement. The caves remind us that humanity's story is built on small, deliberate actions, repeated with care, leaving echoes that can be felt thousands of years later. In this final meditation, it becomes clear the greatest archaeological treasures are not only those grand or gold laden, but those that capture human thought, intention, and patience. Whispers from the past, softly guiding us to slow down, observe carefully, and connect with the deep, enduring heartbeat of history.